All right, it's a beautiful sunny day here in the region, and I just get the feeling I'm gonna find some vinyl today. So I got a couple stops that I've never filmed before that have had some good Beatles on VJ, and I even found an old Detroit band, The Rationals, at one of these stops. And one of them's a new vinyl store that I've just ducked my head in. So maybe we'll come up with some good 45s today. So stick around. This could be a good beginning of an episode. All right, so this place is Crown Antique Mall, #1 in the region. All right, let's check this out. Cool. All right, here you see all the booths, all the knickknacks. I've been in here before, so I sort of know this one on the left here. And here it is right away. We got some 45s. The white label is always a, that's interesting. Promotion copy, a little ripped up. Elvis. This guy's always got Elvis. Dinah Washington. I like her stuff. Galore 6, King Cole. You might think, wow, man, you're passing up a lot of good songs. Well, I've got 10,000 in my collection. And I know my genres, I know my labels, I know my comments. That's probably pretty good. So Marvin Gaye is going to do a lot better for resale than I don't know, some of these unknown Herman's Hermits, for example. Not saying that they're unknown. This guy obviously just picks out Elvis and throws it in here. So Elvis is a great collectible icon across the board. But I don't know. I think he might be in vinyl sort of slipping a little bit. Guess Who, Jefferson Starship. So some of these are what I would call commons. Aretha Franklin, I always like her stuff. Marvin Gaye. I'll look at condition after I get them all stacked. So I'm just doing a preliminary little scan here. Peppermint Rainbow. God, that almost sounds like psychedelia. Stormy Weather, they were a local outfit, I think out of Gary, Indiana. Sometimes I can't even read. The lighting in these places can be really bad. Let's take a look at the condition on that. All right, do a little summary. All right, booth number 2, you can see this guy's really spent a lot of time on the look of his booth, and I give him a lot of credit for that. The stuff is very well priced and curated, I should say. So we're probably gonna see some great 45s in here, but I think the price is going to be probably up there a little bit. So let's check it out. All right, so Footloose, I'll pass on that. Now this, depending on the condition, this is hard to find on 45. Mary Jane's Last Dance. That was the big hit off the greatest hits with the B-side, The Waiting. So I might pick that up for $5. That's pretty cool. Can't Make Do with the B-side, Beautiful Loser. I might pick that up for $5. So maybe Sunspot Baby with Like a Rock. I don't know. The vinyls, I touch myself. I could have been wrong about this guy. I'll do a little buy today. Learning to Fly. Most of Tom Petty's stuff, the B-side was an unknown. 352's Rome. I got it, I'm sure, somewhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that. Dance Naked, backed with ROCK in the USA. That actually is a pretty good twofer. I'm gonna pick that up. I'm gonna do a little buy today. I feel like spending money. American Woman with No Sugar Tonight. That's a pretty good twofer. Journey, Def Leppard. Booker T and the MGs. That's a later release. Anything with a barcode like that, they started about 81, 82, something like that. Good to Be King. That's like a later Tom Petty release. I might pick that up. Let's do it. I got a million rods. Elton John. Cuts like a knife with Please Forgive Me. Interesting. Sort of like a retro look to that label later. I'm not gonna buy it, but I like the way it looks. Boston, Eric Clapton. The guy's got some good titles. Everything's $5. So what that means to me, there's a lot that are worth $2 that are uppriced, but there's probably some that are worth 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 bucks that are underpriced. So maybe I was wrong about this guy. One thing's for sure, this guy's, sleeved. He's got a jukebox label for each one, almost. That's an obscure Stevie Wonder. The guy's really anal about how he presents his stuff, which is sort of nice. Usually I'm on my hands and knees. There's another Good to Be King. Usually I'm on my hands and knees digging this stuff out. Good stuff. I got Alan Jackson, Aerosmith, Living on the Edge, Aerosmith, Learning to Fly. I think I got a million copies of it. Calling Elvis. Some of this stuff is just sort of common, so I'm not gonna go out of my way to pick it up. Fire Inside. It's not one of his greatest songs. White Coat of Paint, Even Now, same thing. Seeger's late stuff, I've got a lot of it, and it's not as good as his early stuff, let's just face it. I love UB40. They take a simple Elvis song and they made a great hit out of it. I saw them live in Ann Arbor. It was at the Michigan Theater, and they were great. Red, Red Wine, all that stuff. You too. I'm picking that up. All right, I went through the stack, or the first bin, and these are the non-picture sleeve. I've got my own weird criteria for picking out stuff. I look at the label, the band, the rarity, and it all ties into the 5 C's of record collecting. We talked about one of them, which is condition. And all these look pretty clean from the outside. Now, I'll probably go through them individually and look at the vinyl itself and see how scratched up they are. If they're very good or very good plus or mint, definitely they're worth more than the listed value most of the time. Okay, usually I skip over this guy's stuff. Now, here he's just decided that everything with a picture sleeve is $10. And that doesn't necessarily hold true. I've got this picture sleeve framed somewhere. Just because it has a picture sleeve doesn't add $5 to the price. It can if it's a rare, like early Stones or Beatles with a somewhat rare picture sleeve. But like this later Paul McCartney, Carly Simon. I mean, I love the artwork. And if I'm gonna get the picture sleeve thrown in for free, yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy it. But, Rod Stewart with a picture sleeve doesn't add value necessarily. It doesn't add $5 of value for sure on most of these. It's probably just about the same in terms of pricing, in terms of value. Now, does value mean everything? No. I'm not in this to resell. I'm not in this to make money. But that's a pretty good picture sleeve right there of George Harrison. I want to say that what's the B-side on that one? We Were Fab. I might pick that one up. All right, on to booth number 3. This guy used to have some sort of unique odd 45s. Here we are right here. So I'm gonna spend some time looking through this little section and see what we can come up with. All right, this guy's got some weird, obscure stuff. Like craft work. That's very collectible amongst the new wave. They're German, like techno, very obscure band, but I'm not gonna pay 30 bucks. And it's been sitting here for the last year. I've been through this bin a few times. Early tubes, diamonds, Deep Purple promo. Can't get it out of my head. A nice looking picture sleeve, by the way. Backed with Illusion and G, you know, the leaves, they're like an early, they did a Hey Joe version that I think Hendrix sort of borrowed. Could be wrong. Wayne Cochran. I don't even know who that is, but you know, it's on a promo label. It doesn't mean that it's very, very rare. I pulled a Rationals out of here once. I mean, that's probably, you know, that's an early petty, very cool looking promo label. Yeah, just because it's on Cadet or Chess doesn't mean it's valuable. Payolas. I don't think this has been repopulated at all. The Vagrants. Promo by the Vagrants. The Rascals. You don't see too many picture sleeves of this early Rascals. The Monkeys Porpoise song. You'd have to. The Orleans. 18 for that one. All right, I got the phone underneath my nose, underneath my chin, so. You remember Vanity, she was one of Shrimp's princes. You remember Vanity, she was a Prince protege that just sort of faded out. Vanity 6. Nicholas Tremulous. Dick Clark. Some of these kids' records do real well. I always thought that was just so politically incorrect, I might actually buy it. Spinners, Cupid. That's sort of at the end of their run there. Dr. Feelgood. Captain and Tennille. Brooke Benton. Hawk on the Wild Side. He was good. That might be good to pick up. Leaf Garrett. So that's it out of that fast. And it either hits or it doesn't. Which one do I get a gem out of here? We got the Tamla. Later Smokey. Remember King Records, right? Little Willie John. Boy, that's tempting. The original King label. I might pick it up. And those old ones, you're looking for single color labels. They didn't spend a lot of money. King Records was James Brown's label. If you remember from episode 15 from Hawaii, our gem of the week was on King with the Tokyo Happy Cats. So for $5, I'm gonna take a chance. Steve Martin. Comedian on 45, not so much. You know, the comedian monologue format lends itself to an LP, not to a 45. There's Elvis again. Later, RCA Elvis, not so much. Early stuff on Sun, jump on it. Saw the Light, great song with Back to If I Get You a Woman. Picking that up. Blue-Eyed Soul, it's also a genre. Love this cover, but I'm not paying 18 bucks, even if it's a promo. It's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen a promo of it. Promos are a different breed of a collector that just, some guys only like promos. This is worth about $1. And don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Like Country Joe the Fish. It's a promo. I might get it. Cherry Baby. Is it the band or the song? It's on yellow vinyl. Mamas and the Papas. Once you get enough of them out of here, you can flip. Obscure Foot. Dust in the Wind. They probably sold 2 million of those. Do You Love Me? By the Contours. It's probably worth all of what it's priced as. Boomtown Rats. You know, their big one was I Don't Like Mondays, so it's sort of a cool company sleeve. Jackson 5. These are metal, I think they're actually acetates, but they're on metal, and they're home produced records. So you could get some guy, some dad at the piano. Love and Spoonful, I got that recently. And you're gonna make some mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Wildlife Calls. My son-in-law Grant would like this one. This is Wildlife Calls of the Woodpecker. So they're into tracking and that kind of thing. That's an old label right there. Ames Brothers, really early country, I think. Isley Brothers, It's Your Thing. It's a great song. Probably sold 1 million of them. Oh, fast forward there. Okay, there's Isley Brothers where we left off. Here's Supply. Cheryl L. Don't know her. BTO, they had their run, so that was probably on the back end of it. Don't know those two songs. Hitchin' a Ride, Vanity Fair, that's their sort of a one-hit number. That's probably a good buy. A promo. Looks like a radio station copy for sure. Pick that one up. John Kay, he was Steppenwolf. Probably went on, tried to have his own career. Limited results. They all think they can do it without the band, right? Carole King, she had her Tapestry. Yeah, Carole King wrote tons of great songs. Beach Boys. Almost always pick up Beach Boys. All right, this is the last little bin in the second or third booth. I just looked at this, it looks pretty clean, so I'm gonna pick that up. Grand Funk, they had their run. And what's the B-side on this? You know, it's cool for the artwork, but I need the record and the artwork to make a buy. I'm not just going to buy it just for the cover. Although that might be one of the 5 C's. The Skaggs. Sam the Sham. You know, everybody knows Wooly Bully, but what about some of the other stuff? That's an early label, and it's in really, really good shape. I'm gonna buy it. Sometimes you're just in the mood to buy. Today's one of those days. I was gonna watch golf today, but I said, screw it, I'm gonna go buy some records. She's not there, the Zombies, that would be a good one for 5, but not for 12. Seeds pushing too hard. That's early psychedelia. Well, it's warped. Look out for this, people. Don't buy warped records. That goes under condition. That was one of our 5 C's that we talked about in episode 15. All right, fortunately I've been here enough where I sort of know the lay of the land, and I know where the records are gonna be. So let's see what we can find. I think I'm sort of spending middle of the road. I know I got some $3 and $1 records that I'm probably overpaying, but what I'm hoping is that I hit it on 1 or 2 that I paid $5 for that are worth 30. And then that makes it all worthwhile. And I got some that I like too. So those are some of the other C's that we'll talk about. All right, so I have my price limits in my sweet spot. I love how they had that little thing up top where you could file it under 99 cents. It has all in little filing system. Chicago, 3 Cool Cats by the Coasters. This right here is probably worth it, but I think it's a reissue. These are those guys that had a huge hit with Gloria, and they were like Chicago high school kids, but I'm pretty sure this is a reprint, but it is still pretty cool. Maybe not. I mean, that looks like the original label. I'm gonna look it up when I get home, and it'll still be here. It's been here for 3 months. I don't know if it's worth $25, but I've never seen a picture sleeve of that, and it may be worth $25. It looked like it was in pretty good condition. I'll come back and get it. That's one thing about local shops. It's like, I can come back on that one. I'm spending a little bit more money than I normally do today. I'm just in that kind of mood. Okay, we already went through that. We went through that. Go through this one. Yep, we went through that. We went through that. Okay, we went through that whole rack. All right, here's another booth. $10 for Crocodile Rock. So these are clean. They're probably overpriced. Never seen them before. $10 for Beatles. It's probably worth that, but I like to buy stuff for sort of a bargain. So why not? Judy Garland, Billy Joel, Cher, come on. REM, Losing My Religion. I'm gonna check the price. I'm actually gonna check it on Discogs. All right, I just noticed that it says 50% off booth 181 where we saw these. So I'm gonna get this for 50% off. So for $3, yeah, I'm getting Losing My Religion. And this is what they're using for snack dishes now. So all those vinyl albums you threw away, you could have a lot of chip bowls. Just throw them in the oven in a mold, and my sister actually gave me one of these. All right, we talked in episode 14 about the gramophone, and these are little cylinders up here with the grooves on, and it rotated, and then the needle was sat behind here. So this is Basically Edison's early invention. How much? 500 bucks. But what a cool looking machine. But this is a record. Okay, it's a recording. And then eventually they changed the format. You'd wind it up with this, and it was all mechanical. And I believe there was an attachment that went to right there, which would amplify the sound like a little bit of a horn. But what a cool looking little record player. It's a record player. Once again, everybody collects something. So Pokemon cards, trinkets, action figures. Here's some old vinyl here. It's actually new vinyl. That guy's got Hot Rocks for 40 bucks. It's actually probably not a bad price on good vinyl. So comic book stuff. Nostalgia is big. I have a feeling it's only gonna get bigger. We take it for granted, but this stuff was all around. These vendors come and go. When I was in here 2 months ago, it was full of action figures. He seems to pretty much have cleared out all his inventory, or he's on the road. So, you know, the crafty stuff. A lot of this stuff is just junk, but nostalgia is big. It takes about 5 years for nostalgia to set in, and it's the stuff that got
By this time,
away.
I was running out of steam. I had to check this one last box because it looked old. But old sometimes means beat up and scratched up. So condition right away was glancing at me, and it wasn't good.
Everything is.
And then when you start seeing $10 stickers on everything, there's a VJ, but you know what I mean? It's a common, it's overpriced, and the condition is bad. So you don't really have any of the C's going on there. So I'm just flipping through them really fast. But I love these old classic labels. You got Parrot, you got Motown, you got BJ, you got London, which was sort of the answer to the Capitol Record Swirl. You got Tamla, you've got MCA, you've got all these record labels in competition. Dot is another one, Imperial, Epic, Karma Sutra, Mercury, Tamla again. They are in intense competition with each other, trying to catch the teen market with these things called 45s. So the kid gets his allowance in his 99 cents, and he goes down to the local drugstore and buys these out of the rack, and brought it home, flipped it on his little record player with the adapter, and hopefully it was a hit. And he didn't have to spend $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 for an album. 99 cents of pure joy. It could be the Kinks on Reprise. It could be Buddy Holly on Coral. It could be Beach Boys or Beatles on Capitol. It really didn't matter. But for about a 20 to 25 year period, 45s were king. Now, also remember, the 45 is what got dropped off at the radio station before the album came out. So a hit single would be created, and they would announce it and say, this is on the upcoming album by the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, and they would throw out, you know, Sloop John B. or Caroline No. or God Only Knows. Motown really created the template of mass producing records, just like they made automobiles, and they were kings at it. Berry Gordy was a genius in marketing, and he was also a genius in talent development. You really do lose track of time when you start flipping through these records. So I sometimes can spend an hour easy in one booth. So I think this will be it. I'm going to bring everything up front here in a minute. And, well, hang on a second. What's this?
All right, that's 416. I'm looking for 498. So that got my heart going a little bit. What are these? Something in French. Ricky Nelson. Elvis. I might pick that one up. All right, I'm ready. All right, I'm about out of this building. Can't find my Beatles guy though. He might have packed up and moved on. You know, people come in and out of these things. And usually when you're down to the level of selling junk, it's not that profitable. So you're in between jobs, you've lost a job, you have someone else who's the main wage earner, and this is more like a hobby. A lot of OCD going on here. A lot of grandmas buying junk because they got nothing better to do. A lot of hoarders getting rid of their hoard, and a lot of people buying up that hoard and making it into their hoard. So it's just a different level of hoarding. Cool Beatles poster. Not paying 32 bucks for it, but so I think we're about out of here.
I just want to do what I can here.
Once again, I'd like to have that in my den.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm looking for
All right, let's check out for you various booths.
Okay.
I think that second one, I think it was booth 181. They had it where it was 50% off.
Thanks,
But
guys.
the rest of them should be as marked. Tried to keep things in order as much as I could.
Well, appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, ready? It's gonna be, do you want dashes or just straight up?
No, that's the dash. I always do the dashes.
All right, 0-209-R. Then I put comma. 0-204-R. Y 42-R.
You guys have a good system going here.
We try.
Yeah, and I think that one was not priced, but it's all in that one right over here.
This
to the
one
left.
with
Yeah.
this guy?
Yeah, it
All
was
right,
in
so,
there.
yeah, 45, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, or 5 of them. This one didn't have a cover.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Cool.
Okay.
All right, what's the damage?
110.10.
Okay.
Cool.
And I don't get a discount for being a nice guy, right?
Well,
You did. Some of them were discounted.
Okay. Okay. So just tap.
You could just hold it there for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, just hold. Yep. It took
Okay.
it.
All right, cool.
All right.
Sure. All right, so I always try to at least ask for a discount. I was a little slim. I tried the nice guy approach, didn't work. But you know what? I got out of there for about 110 bucks. And I think I got like $300 of records. So I'm gonna say it's a win for Detroit Bob.
All right, Detroit Bob, that was a little bit of a long episode, but I wanted to give you guys the idea of the patience that it takes to dig through these booths to find these records. Don't go in there if you're pressed for time. Remember, time is one of the formulas or the ingredients that gives you the great gems in your collection. So study it, go through it, but I gotta tell you, the gem of the week is a classic. And it was right there in that second booth. So hang tight and I'll review that in 1 minute. All right, the gem of the week is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Mary Jane's Last Dance. In that second booth, I got it for $5. I knew right away it was a $25 record because I paid $25 for it about a year ago, and it's sitting in my jukebox. So I picked it up again. The funny thing is, it's got Rick Rubin on the production credits, along with Mike Campbell and Tom Petty. And then a great B-side is The Waiting. It's an older song from Hard Promises. Both sides say, from the forthcoming Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers Greatest Hits album. In 1993, they weren't making 45s that much anymore. But Petty's sort of an old soul, and he probably made sure that it came out
so that his hardcore fans and jukeboxes all over the USA could have the awesome song with some Indiana references called Mary Jane's Last Dance. And if you haven't listened to it in a while, listen to it. It's a great, great song. Gem of the Week, Tom Petty, Mary Jane's Last Dance. Approximate value, $25. Paid, $5. We'll see you next time. Cheers.